Welcome to Real World. Today I want to talk about that scene at the end of episode 3 where Damon emerged from the cave carrying the crab feeder's body. At that point, I was looking at his hand because I wanted to see if he had anything covering it as he was removing the body. And there's nothing there. His hand is bare. And this could be significant because the crab feeder has grayscale. Grayscale, of course, is a highly contagious disease that causes the skin to crack, turn stone like. In the later stages, a person can lose their mind. In George's A Song of Ice and Fire books, there were two people that contracted grayscale: Shireen Baratheon, Stannis' daughter, and John Connington. Now, if you're a TV viewer, you're thinking, John Connington, who's that? Did I forget someone? No, it's not you. It's Dan and Dave that forgot it. They left John Connington out of Game of Thrones, and with it, not just one character, but a huge plot that figures large in the books. But on the TV show, it was Jorah then that they had contract the grayscale. In the books, it wasn't Jorah, it was John Connington. And there's a big difference, though, between Shireen's case and Jorah's. Jorah had an active case of grayscale, whereas Shireen's had been stopped. She still did have the scars, but she was no longer had active grayscale. So the question then becomes: is the crab feeder, does he have active grayscale? From the look that they've given him too, it seems like it's an active case. I mean, it's hard to tell. He's got that quasi Sons of the Harpy mask on that looks like he maybe picked it up, in an Essos dollar store or something, but it seems like it's an active case. He seems infected. It doesn't seem like a Shireen type of situation and more like what Jorah had going on. So we know that Damon dragged him out, didn't have anything over his hand, but what's even worse is that he's drenched in the crab feeder's blood. If you see him before he went into the cave, his face was clean. He comes out. It's that last shot that we saw of him with his entire face drenched in blood. So if the crab feeder has grayscale, Damon's got some problems here. But this brought something interesting to mind from A Dance with Dragons and a Daenerys chapter there. In it, she was in Marine and she was about ready to bring food out to some of the people that were infected with the flux. There's just a brief part I want to read here. Sir Barristan wrinkled up his nose and said, "Your grace should not be here, breathing these black humors." "I am the blood of the dragon," Danny reminded him. "Have you ever seen a dragon with the flux?" Viserys had often claimed that Targaryens were untroubled by the pestilences that afflicted common men, and so far as she could tell, it was true. She could remember being cold and hungry and afraid, but never sick. Now, Danny's brother Viserys certainly isn't a very good source for much. We know that. But it does bring up a very interesting point here. This whole thing that George worked in about Targaryens potentially being immune to some pestilences. I don't really believe that Daemon is going to catch grayscale here. I don't even think they're going to address it on the show side. But it is something that they could put aside and come back to later, depending upon what's going on in the story. There could be a point where Daemon says something similar to that we heard from Danny in the books, and even refer to the situation with the crab feeder and his grayscale, and he didn't catch it because Targaryens are immune. But now someone could say, look at Viserys, King Viserys, and House of the Dragon. He's got whatever's going on with his skin. He's losing fingers. He's basically rotting away before our eyes. And someone could say, well, he has an affliction. What does that have to say about Targaryen's immunity to things? And there's two things. First off, Viserys is in also one of these interesting situations where they say the throne rejects people. It's a theme that George has brought up previously. He keeps cutting himself on the throne, and these sores are forming from it. It's like the throne is rejecting him. But at the same time, Viserys, in many ways, is rejecting what it's to be a Targaryen. He's rejecting that blood of the dragon that Danny spoke about. He never took another dragon. He was never a dragon rider again after Balerion died, and he's uncomfortable with them. He's uncomfortable with a lot. Whereas someone like Daemon, Danny, and Rhaenyra are more along in that vein of the blood of the dragon that Danny was talking about. So, is there immunity to some pestilences? I don't know. Um, but George tossed that one out there, and I thought it was interesting. So I just wanted to cover it here. So, do I think Damon's going to catch Grayscale? No. But I also don't think that this is just some mistake because Ryan Condal is very involved in the lore. So it makes me wonder if maybe this is just a seed for something else that we're going to see in the future. Anyway, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want more House of the Dragon content, subscribe. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.